Good evening and welcome to the Fort Collins Urban Design Awards evening. I'm delighted to be here and be part of this. And I welcome you and I thank you for joining us in this celebration of the great places in Fort Collins with the first annual Fort Collins Urban Design Awards. This evening is about excellence, and this evening is about greatness in design for our great city. These awards were created to raise public and private awareness of the importance of urban design, and Fort Collins does a really great job with this, as we'll see tonight, and its role in maintaining and enhancing the quality of life in the community of Fort Collins. I asked a little bit about the history of the urban design and got some interesting answers. The idea really goes back about 20 years. In fact, exactly 20 years ago, and to a city council that was in place there, and I think the mayor was Kelly Olson back then or something like that. So the idea has been around a long time. It's great to see this coming to fruition and happening tonight. We're here to promote and recognize individual practitioners, owners, organizations, public agencies, firms, and projects that are contributing to the quality of life in Fort Collins and to the quality of this community. I'd like to recognize, and if you stand, Greg, I'd like to recognize Greg Byrne especially. He's our planning executive director. We're very fortunate to have Greg. He's a prize-winning planner, and he's an absolute superb senior planner and staffer for Fort Collins. And I wanted to recognize him and his staff's work in putting together these awards. So without further ado, let me introduce. Let me introduce the finest city manager in the #1 town in the USA. Money Magazine proved it, Darren Atterbury.
Thank you, everyone. You've already talked with with Doug Hutchinson, our mayor, and Kelly Olson is here as well. Are there any other council members here? I came in a little bit late. It certainly doesn't represent the support on council for this program. Council heard this in a work session. They supported it wholeheartedly. And let me also say that Greg Byrne and his team, Joe Frank and Becca and Clark and others are here, I know, Cameron Gloss. As a staff, we support this program as well very, very much. It's really an opportunity to say thank you, to recognize and say thank you to folks who have really gone above and beyond in this area. And additionally, it's to recognize great work and to tell our story, to tell the story of that good design is really important to us as a community, and to frankly, selfishly encourage more. We hope that good design, urban design, whether it's public places or structures or planning efforts, we hope by recognizing it encourages you all to do more of it, and also just so you know, it encourages us as a council the council and the mayor to see this work, and it encourages us as a staff. So thank you all for the work that you've done, and also it's pretty fun to be part of this evening. Urban design is, in our eyes, is about the design of buildings, the design of places and spaces that make up our city. It's how people are also using those spaces. It can be a street, it can be a public space, a building, or a single outdoor space. And you're probably already thinking of some of those spaces here in downtown and throughout the community. We have many of them. It's about appearances in the built form, but it also has to do with environmental, economic, and social and cultural consequences of that design. I think about a time my wife and I, probably 3 or 4 years ago, we were in Rome together, just the two of us. It was a really cool date. And I remember just turning actually coming around in an alley in Rome, and first I could hear some sounds coming around. It was just a single musician playing probably a saxophone, and then I remember smelling the smells coming around of just excellent food. Again, we're in Rome, and then hearing people laugh, and I just thought, and I'm an urban planner, and I remember thinking how cool that was, just that there's something around the corner that is really, really intriguing. And I don't know how in urban design school and architecture programs and different things, how you design that. But I think we have some of those spaces in Fort Collins as well. And again, we're here to really try and encourage some of that. Let me tell you about how the winners were selected from this process. We had the privilege as a city staff and the okay from the city council to nominate projects that had come through within the city limits that were completed anytime within the last 5 years that best illustrate the qualities of one or more of the design categories: plan, architecture, urban fragment, civic improvement, green design, and then we also have a really special recognition that Greg Byrne will be awarding this evening, and we call it the Hall of Fame Award. Also next year, good news, we've got student projects as well, student projects category, which I think is going to be fantastic for our local students. The final judges, and as I mentioned your name, if you could just stand up. We had a great panel of judges, and I want to just recognize them for their work. Linda Knowlton is over here. Linda's the chair of the Natural Resources Board and loves this stuff. We have Angie Aguilera. Angie is here somewhere. I think I saw her. Angie is the chair of the Landmark Preservation Commission. David Lingle, chair of the Planning and Zoning Board. There's David. Brad Getz, the professor at CSU in landscape design. Hi, Brad. Frank Vaught is here, local architect. There's Frank, architect. And Joe Frank, director of advanced planning. Joe. Cameron Gloss, our director of current planning, and myself. And I think I caught everyone there. So thank you all. Let's give them a hand as well. Thanks for your work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn it over to Ann Aspen, and Ann is going to begin with the first award.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. And I want to reiterate something that Darren just said about being inspired by the work that you do. We really are, and it's a real honor to be here, to be able to help you celebrate. Our first category is design plan. As we know, planners do very important work. Planners design projects that they hope will improve the community. Sometimes the development review process is challenging and difficult. We want to recognize a few of the planning projects that came out of the ordeal alive and kicking. But seriously, the design plan category is for a plan or study that provides a development or redevelopment strategy in the mid to long term. Winning projects in this category all inspire us to think of our community differently. They show us how careful planning can lead to tangible benefit in our daily lives. The first award goes to Mason Street North. We commend the architects of this plan for transforming a challenging site and context into a welcoming urban neighborhood and gathering place. With railroad tracks slicing through the middle of the site, a major park and natural area immediately to the north, an historic neighborhood with a strong heritage and character immediately to the west, a burgeoning civic center immediately to the south, and Old Town just a stone's throw to the east, this 2-acre project demanded to be carefully woven into the urban fabric. Wolf Lion Architects connected the threads of existing sidewalk and public trails through the project and provided a very fitting terminus to the new pedestrian spine that runs through the Civic Center to the south. 20 units and about 20,000 square feet of ground floor commercial space within 3 two-story buildings at Mason Street North successfully span the gap between the neighborhoods and downtown with carefully calibrated massing, articulation, and detailing. The developer, Mason Street LLC, says this project was designed for people in the spirit of new urbanism and developed to support and encourage community by creating an attractive and high-quality environment for people to work and live in. In addition, Mason Street LLC and Wolf Lion Architects intend to implement a community-based marketing approach that involves future residents and commercial tenants in creating a vibrant and sustainable mixed-use community. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations on a job very well done. John Wolf, Tom Lyon, Corkett Honoran, and Ronnie Pelucio will accept the award this evening.
Good evening. You always make me do the talking. I don't quite know why. Well, I want to thank everyone for honoring us with this award. It's a great pleasure to be here. This project was quite challenging for us. I think Ann started to point out a little bit of the site constraints. When we first looked at the site, what we saw was the railroad track and a kind of gravel parking lot, and thought, well, this won't be too difficult. We ought to be able to put buildings on there. And then the more we learned, we found there was a 24-foot wide, 8-foot deep storm sewer going right through the middle of it. Crossing that was a high voltage series of electrical lines that were buried. There were a few other major water lines and so forth. So the challenge for us was to figure out how we could assemble these buildings in a puzzle-like format, and our emphasis was really to create the spaces in between. So we hope that people have a chance to go there, walk through the project. In our minds, it was really all about the relationships of buildings to one another and how that space and that place could be created that you were alluding to in some of the opening comments. And I think we started to get there. We had to connect the buildings. There were a lot of issues. It was originally 5 buildings, turned out to be 3 in the end because 2 of them got connected across. The staff was quite accommodating and allowing certain things like the high voltage electric lines to go under some of those bridges and some other things. And so it was really quite a collaborative effort to produce what we did. And we hope that it will become a good anchor at that end of Mason Street. And there's a lot of ground in between that needs to fill in that will hopefully happen in the next years ahead. I know some of the projects are already underway and about to happen. And we love the downtown. We think it's a great thing. We'd love to take all that energy that's happening out on I-25 and see it sucked back into the downtown area again. And I know you're all trying to do that, so we encourage those efforts, and we're really honored to be part of that process. So thank you very much.
Next, Harvest represents one of the first projects to fully implement the vision of city plan in a residential project. And for that, we commend local landscape architecture firm Vignette Studios and client Ryder Corporation. This is a recent 481-unit residential development on 105 acres near Ziegler and Harmony Roads. The site plan is organized around a grid street pattern and a pedestrian circulation system which connects residents to central destination areas, including 6 pocket parks and a neighborhood recreation center. Ryder Homes designed an entirely new product line for this community, focused on a pedestrian-friendly active streetscape, relationships between indoor and outdoor spaces, exterior design, and bold use of color. Rear alleys are utilized throughout for utilities, trash, and vehicular storage. Townhomes, single-family homes, and luxury homes are sprinkled throughout the neighborhood for an integrated urban fabric. The Neighborhood Recreation Center encompasses an entire city block and incorporates playing fields, an inline skating rink, playground, swimming pool, and community building. Does this attention to detail and streetscape pay off? The proof's in the pudding. Harvest has continued to be one of Ryder Corporation's best-selling projects. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations for boldly going where no planner has gone before in Fort Collins. Terrence Hoagland will accept the award this evening.
Well, I would like to thank city staff, for the concept of this award. I think it's great for the city. I'd like to thank my staff at Vignette Studios and also my wife, Laylee, who encouraged me to go out on business on my own. This was one of the first projects we did at Vignette Studios. We started this planning 8 years ago. Also thank the Ryder Corporation for having the faith in me to do it. They also took us, their staff and myself, we visited several projects, including Celebration out in Florida, to figure out the best way to design an urbanism project. And, Harvest is the result of this. It's been a great seller for them. They've taken the same product. They built it down in Lowry in Denver, where actually I was at this morning, got the next phase of Lowry approved for Standard Pacific Homes, which they bought out Ryder Corporation a few years ago. So we're still working with them, still doing it. And they're building the same product in Longmont right now very successfully. So thank you.
The last design plan award goes to the city's Carriage House design standards. Now, we're not accustomed to tooting our own horn, but I, for one, in this case, am happy to oblige. The Carriage House design standards were not a nominee for this award. However, local experts from the private sector who are on the jury felt that this project merited recognition. When asked by the City Council if they could deliver new design standards for secondary housing and accessory buildings along Old Town residential alleys in 4 months, the city's current planning department responded with a resounding yes. We commend the current planning department for using a fast-paced, responsive design charrette process that brought together neighborhoods, developers, financial experts, architects, and policymakers to prepare regulations to address problems of new and converted alley housing within our cherished Old Town neighborhoods. In response to large residential units being built on alleys and increased parking, traffic, and attendant noise problems, the City Council enacted a moratorium on alley housing. The Planning Department set out to survey the affected neighborhoods and research how other communities have addressed these problems. Armed with this information, the city hosted a 4-day intensive design charrette with a wide set of stakeholders. The outcomes of the charrette became the foundation for the new standards in place in the Land Use Code today. Creative tools such as photo simulations were developed by the current planning department to illustrate the changes. Local architect Frank Vaught prepared architectural drawings illustrating real-world examples of carriage houses and accessory buildings that would fit into the historic context, like the one you see on the screen. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations on this collaborative effort. For all of his hard work, current Planning Director Cameron Gloss will accept this award tonight.
It was interesting when this project started. The council enacted a moratorium on secondary units in the back of lots in our Old Town area. Just how much passion surrounded this whole project. We had so many residents approach us about the issues that face them in their neighborhoods. In fact, there was a walking tour of some of those neighborhoods. They really wanted us to understand firsthand exactly what the implications were for some of these secondary units that were being built along alleys in our Old Town area. I'm very proud of this effort and the fact that it was so collaborative. We had financial experts, architects, developers, and of course, neighborhood residents helping us with this project. And it was successful. I think we've seen some excellent examples now built since the design standards were adopted a couple of years ago. I'm also very proud of the fact that we got it done in such a quick period of time, and they've been very effective. I also wanted to recognize those individuals that helped the current planning department in putting this together. One of them is here this evening, Frank Vaught. He is a local architect that helped draft actually some designs that helped us kind of work backwards to create the regulations. Also, Troy Jones, former city planner. He helped do a lot of the survey information and provides some of our computer support. Ginger Dodge, former planning technician that did much of the computer work as well as the background work, putting the charrette together. And Chris Lance, who did the visual simulations. If you saw those were quite impressive. So thank you very much. Really appreciate this award.
Now we move into the architecture category. There are numerous excellent examples of architecture that have been built in Fort Collins recently. This year, with downtown lofts sprouting up seemingly everywhere, the entire downtown is rapidly transforming into a rather cosmopolitan place. This year's nominations for architecture reflected this trend towards urban living and the downtown lifestyle. All 6 of the nominations were noteworthy new downtown designs. The winners are all great examples of architecture that bode well for the future of our community as a vibrant gathering, living, working, and playing mecca. This former drive-through bank site is a mere 0.43 acre. On it now sits the Cortina mixed-use project with 23,000 square feet of commercial office space and 20 market-rate luxury lofts. This pioneer of upscale loft living in Fort Collins takes its design cues from a virtual trip through the picture books of Italy. The developer describes the project as old world living in Old Town Fort Collins. Authentic materials were used throughout, including real clay roof tiles, precast balusters at the balconies, and authentic shutters and window boxes for flowers. The base facade of the building is authentic granite. No expense was spared on the interior finishes either, including No. 2 oak flooring, solid slab granite countertops, and stone fireplaces. This project may well signal the advent of Fort Collins downtown as a retail and cultural center for the region. This redevelopment site was challenging and required clever solutions involving excavating under neighboring property and right-of-way for parking and storage. This project received a Golden Hard Hat Award from Colorado Construction Magazine in 2005 for Outstanding Mixed-Use Multifamily Project. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations to Don Bundy, Jeff Errett, and Bill Colson, who will accept the award this evening.
Well, I was hoping Bill was going to be invited up here because if he wasn't, I was going to ask him to come up. The Architect Studio appreciated the opportunity to work on this project. It certainly presented many challenges and opportunities for professional growth and learning. I have to acknowledge the contributions of the firm of Vaught Fry in the conceptual design and V.F. Ripley. But most of all, I've got to acknowledge Bill and the vision that he had for the building and the project and his tenacious approach to getting it done. He didn't take no for an answer. There are many delicate and intricate things about this project, technically and otherwise, and he doggedly pursued it to get it done. And Bill, I congratulate you for accomplishing that. Thank you, Don.
Thanks, Don. Thanks, Jeff. The Architect Studio did a great job, and thanks to all who pitched in and contributed to the project, the city, Cameron. We did have some delicate issues there, and we were able to work through some of those and make that underground portion of that structure work. It's an important piece of ground on an important corner that hopefully in the future becomes a piece of the bedrock of the city of Fort Collins and really puts a good foot forward for Fort Collins. And again, I want to say thank you, and hopefully we'll see you again.
One of the first local loft projects, Old Town Lofts, is not as elaborate as other recent loft projects, but its noteworthiness is in how well it blends into the existing fabric of Fort Collins downtown. Formerly an aging one-story office building with some historic significance, Front Range Land Resources adaptively reused it into a 3-story mixed-use building with 17 residential units, over 10,000 square feet of commercial space on the first two levels. Design inspiration came from Lodo, Denver. As you can see, Coors Field inspired the corner tower. Also noteworthy are the structure and materials used in this redevelopment. The salvage building does not structurally support the additional floors. A separate cross-braced structure was dropped into the foundation to support them. Original sandstone from the building's days as a church annex around the turn of the last century was meticulously salvaged and reused in the building's facades. New materials were chosen to evoke Fort Collins history with a more contemporary feel, including brick, stone, and black mortar. The cross-bracing is appropriately featured on the interior of the Northern Engineering office space. Earlier this year, this project received national recognition with the Builder's Choice Award from Builders Magazine. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations to Vaught Fry Architects for their ingenuity. Bob Michels will accept the award this evening.
Thanks to everybody at the city for implementing this program. I know we appreciate the recognition, and yeah, we take pride in being a very service-oriented firm, and so we wouldn't be here without a good client in Northern Engineering. George Schock and Bud Curtis had the vision that we helped bring their vision to reality. So thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you again as well. Thanks.
Owner Steve and Missy Levenger's motto for this hotel says it all: renovated, restored, revitalized. This award goes to the Armstrong Hotel for their renovation and restoration efforts, which include 12,000 square feet of ground-level commercial space, 37 hotel rooms and suites, a ballroom, classroom, and boardroom. This project was a labor of love, which shows the power of combining complex collaboration with passionate leadership. The developers designed and meticulously reconstructed the original storefronts, lobby, and guest rooms to exacting standards. Historic windows were salvaged, not replaced. The original historic steam heat radiator system was preserved and is fueled by a state-of-the-art energy-saving boiler. A new innovative system was created to support the original heavy-leaded glass windows and transoms. All work was done by local designers and contractors who were constrained by current building and ADA standards, fire standards, stormwater standards, and the needs of the individual business tenants. On top of this boutique downtown hotel being wildly successful in its own right, this project has likely been responsible for the rejuvenation and reinvigoration of this whole southern end of downtown. By the way, the wonderful food you've been enjoying this evening has been provided by Choice City Butcher and Deli, which is also at the site. Vibrant businesses are flocking to be a part of the community created here by these dedicated developers. This project received the prestigious Governor's Award for Downtown Excellence Design Award in 2005 and the Dana Crawford State Historic Preservation Award also in 2005. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations on making your dream a very successful reality. Richard Beardmore and Steve Levenger will accept this award.
I stand here humble for several reasons. First of all, to get a design award for historic architecture, being an engineer, I guess I was smart enough to respect that, so I think that's interesting. It was truly a collaboration. As most of you know, it sat there vacant for quite a while and was very susceptible to disappearing. Luckily, it didn't with Steve and Missy's foresight and patience and vision for the project. The tenants were great to work with. As you can imagine from the awards that were just announced, it has been very successful in the preservation community, which I think is great because a lot of times preservation and design for architecture aren't always seen as compatible friends, but on this one I think it really has worked. We got great support from the Colorado Historic Society who helped, the Landmark Preservation Commission, the DDA, and lots of folks to try to work this together and give us a little bit of artistic license with it too. So with those things, thank you very much, and I'd like Steve to say a couple of words.
I have to tell you that this gentleman, Dick Beardmore, is just tenacious about historic preservation, and he just is so thrilled and enthralled with it. And I remember one day we went up to Laramie to research buildings, looking at the storefronts so we could recreate the storefront of the Armstrong, which had been long gone, disappeared. And Dick was just kind of all over the place. And I looked at Patrice, who's sitting over there, and I said, wow, it's like he's at an amusement park or Disney World. And she looked at me and she said, well, for Dick, this is like being at Disney World, because he's just got such a passion for it, and he did a fantastic job with the preservation of the building. And I have to mention Carol Tunner, too, who's sitting over there, who worked tirelessly on it, writing a grant for the Colorado Historic Foundation, and she was a very good partner. And I have to say, too, that the Landmark Preservation Commission that we worked closely with was a very good partner for us, too. We didn't have a lot of struggles with them, and Missy and I both have a real preservation attitude and heart, and we're happy that the building came out so well, and we're also thrilled that we've been able to preserve not only the structure, but also the use of the building. So, and we would invite all of you, if you ever want to come by and have a look inside, we'd love to have you and show you some rooms, and just thank you so much for this.
The nominating committee saw the next category, urban fragments, and immediately imagined, what else? Broken beer bottles downtown on Sunday morning. But urban fragments category is really for a small-scale piece of a landscape or building that significantly contributes to the quality of the public realm. This year's winners are 2 downtown alley improvement projects, the Tenney Court Alley and the Trimble Court Alley. With alleys this beautiful, maybe broken bottles will be a thing of the past. The Tenney Court Alley project included reconstruction of the existing alley paving, infrastructure, and other site elements. This section of alley extends from Mason Street parking structure to Mountain Avenue. The ground plane was overhauled with interlocking pavers and integrally colored concrete design. Street furniture, planter containers, and special lighting fixtures accent and enliven the space, which had been an old, deteriorating access area for the businesses that back up to the alley. Children's Mercantile even added a back door. You know the adage, if you can't fix it, feature it? Thanks to contributions from the Art and Public Places program, unavoidable utilitarian functions in the alley are now noteworthy in themselves. What was once an underused and unsafe walkway from the public parking garage is now a jewel in the downtown crown. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations on fantastic placemaking. Aaron Russell and Roger Sherman will accept the award this evening.
Well, we're just 2 people of many, many that collaborated on this project. And first of all, I have to really thank Chip Steiner of the DDA. Without Chip, neither of these alleys would have happened. It was his vision a number of years ago to really create new spaces in downtown. And this is really thanks to him. But also for 2, you'll see the next one soon, really small projects. These required a lot of collaboration between many people in both BHA and EDA, LPC, many DDA members. Business owners along both alleys really contributed to this a lot. And personally, I've been really honored to work on this project. I was a teenager when Old Town first opened, and I've played there many years, been there, and so it's a real honor to be part of the refinement and continuing expansion of Old Town. So thank you. Say anything?
I don't know how I can follow that, but I just wanted to say that, and I'm sure Aaron feels the same way too, that it's really exciting to have an impact, no matter how small it is, on the community you live in. And so I just want to thank the city and the DDA for allowing us to be involved in this project. And you don't often see BHA and EDA's name on the same project. We're typically trying to take projects from each other. And so it was really, it was fantastic though. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
The Trimble Court Alley project also included reconstruction of the existing alley paving and addition of street furniture and festive lighting. This section of alley extends from Old Town Plaza to College Avenue. If you've been to Europe, you know that some, like Darren has, you know that some of the most treasured places in the cities there are the little bejeweled nooks and crannies that surprise you as you're walking around. Like Tenney Alley, Trimble Alley was notoriously underused and unsafe, but through the efforts of the designer, it is now an exquisite and special place for residents and visitors alike to come across when they're in Old Town. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations again on fantastic placemaking. Craig Russell will accept this award.
I just want to reiterate what Aaron said about Chip Steiner. I think without his kind of courage to see alleys as an opportunity rather than a urban constraint and the domain of trash trucks, this project would have never happened. I'd also like to thank all the retail and shop owners along Trimble Court, because I think they really helped contribute to the success and vitality of this project. So thank you.
The first awardee in the civic improvement category is the Children's Garden at Spring Creek. This experiential wonderland is sure to develop the talents of our community's young people, talents any future politician could benefit from. 18 acres, a horticulture center, and 16 planned theme gardens comprise the city's garden on Spring Creek. The Children's Garden is the first of the theme gardens to be built. Features of the garden include a planted roof picnic shelter, a meandering stream, a grasslands to glacier trial garden, and a pair of 8-foot-tall watering cans, one of which has interactive waterworks that spill onto a stone water sculpture. Artist Andrew Dufford of Chevo Studios worked with the project team to create this sculptural element entitled Flow, consisting of a hand-carved stone water table made from a single piece of buff sandstone. The water feature is activated by children pumping water into a reservoir and then allowing the water to flow into a series of rivers and streams carved into the top surface of the water table. Children will be able to fill watering cans with the overflow to water plants in the nearby pots and gardens. The iconic sprinkler cans express the whimsy of the children's garden and symbolize gardening, nurturing, and the measured use of water in our thirsty high plains landscape. The children's garden not only spotlights the water feature, but also offers many interactive education exhibits where kids can get their hands dirty, plant and maintain gardens, crawl through hideouts, and see insects, butterflies, and frogs close up. The vision of the Children's Garden came to life through generous grants and donations and numerous community volunteers. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations on your vision and perseverance, and thank you for the gift you've given our city. Herb Shaw and Mark Cosmos will accept the award this evening.
Well, I wish we could take all the credit for this Civic Improvements Award, but this truly needs to be a shared credit because the very nature of this project has met what we would expect to see in a community horticulture center, and that's community. The Children's Garden you see today is the first of many gardens in the master plan, but its boundaries have not been limited to the footprint and the fenced area that you see on Center Avenue. During construction, strong bonds were made between the greater community and a vision for the Children's Garden, and there were countless tradesmen, contractors, volunteers, fundraisers, donors, welders, artists, and designers, and a very important director who didn't see this as just another project. The richness that you see in the Children's Garden today is due to the investment that these people have made in our community and in supporting this garden. Everyone I had the opportunity to work with throughout the design and construction gave of themselves beyond their contractual obligations and continue to support the gardens today. This is what has made this a special project for me, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Okay, our next category is green design. This category recognizes a design in Fort Collins that is particularly green. The nominating committee came up with this offering, but it's not quite what the jury had in mind, was it, Darren? So we had to go back to the drawing board. But seriously, the City of Fort Collins has made a commitment to sustainable practices, from our award-winning wind power and recycling programs to our commitment to LEED certification for all new city buildings. We want to showcase the efforts of others in our community who have made this often difficult but always rewarding commitment in their projects. Now, normally beer and junior high schoolers don't mix, but in this case, they do. This year's winners in the green design category are the New Belgium Brew House 2 and Kennard Junior High. New Belgium Brewery is the vanguard of commercial sustainability in Fort Collins. New Belgium opts for sustainable practices at every choice, even if that means they have to invent something to make it happen. From site and building design to marketing and bottling, sustainability is the hallmark of New Belgium. Well, after their world-famous beers, that is. Brewhouse 2 was designed with the goal of creating a beautiful space for employees and the community and proving that smart design pays for itself. A majority of the New Belgium campus has attained LEED EB status, and certification is currently in progress. Natural daylighting is employed throughout for energy efficiency and to create a high-quality, productive workplace. Large south-facing windows are louvered to maximize light while reducing heat gain during the summer. Daylight and occupancy sensors, operable windows, and light shelves are used to optimize light and ventilation in the building. Other sustainable features include a cogeneration power plant fueled by methane produced at the on-site water treatment plant. Waste heat captured as steam is used to heat water for other parts of the brewing process. The Merlin brew kettle installed in Brewhouse 2 is 75% more efficient than traditional brew kettles. And the brewery uses a clean-in-place system to maintain equipment, usually used only in much larger breweries. Brewhouse 2, as well as the rest of the brewery, is 100% wind-powered. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations. We know it ain't easy being green, and we salute you. Bob Hosanna will accept the award this evening.
What an exciting company and group of people. I felt like maybe a little kid being pulled by a wagon with this group of people. Every day when we'd meet with the design team, Jeff Liebisch and Kim Jordan and her staff, the ideas these people would come up with for sustainability beyond what maybe we typically know through our list and our check guidelines and things like this. These guys were ahead of the curve all the way. And I have to admit, I feel like a really small part of this project. In so many ways, it was easy to put a building around the innovation that these guys would come up with. It was mentioned the methane gas, the recovery of the methane gas. Up to that point, I didn't even know you could do this. And all of a sudden, we're building a wastewater treatment facility to capture this gas. And I asked Jeff one day, what are you going to do with this gas? I figured you burn it, right, like everybody else. And Jeff says, we're piping it back into the building. And I said, what are you doing that for? He says, we're going to generate electricity. And then he explains to me how this happens, and he loses me. So that's how it happens. Client like that doesn't come along every day, and I think the city of Fort Collins is really lucky to have this type of steward that sets the bar so high for this community. Thank you.
If New Belgium is the vanguard of commercial sustainability, then certainly Poudre School District is the champion of educational sustainability. The second award in the green design category goes to Kennard Junior High School, Poudre School District's most recent addition to their stellar lineup of green school designs. Energy efficiency saves the district precious financial resources, but equally important was designing the school to provide students with a world-class learning environment. Recycled carpeting and stained concrete flooring in the cafeteria are low on environmental impact and high on aesthetic impact. Many materials were also sourced locally to reduce the amount of energy required for transportation. Kennard was built with a substantial daylighting component so that 95% of all the rooms in the building are daylit. Solar gain from south-facing windows is controlled through the use of light louvers. Solar tubes and smaller windows balance daylight. High-efficiency T5 fluorescent lighting was installed in the gym, a significant energy savings over traditional gym lighting. A computerized lighting control system adjusts electric lighting based on the amount of available daylight, producing a constant quality and quantity of light. A geo-exchange system, or geothermal heat pump, was installed under the school's playing fields to moderate the building's heating and cooling needs. During warm months, tubing running through 100, 300-foot wells carries excess heat energy away from the building, which is cooled using the Earth's natural thermal energy. During winter, additional heat captured during the summer months is pumped back into the building to offset the heating load. The system cools during the winter, which reduces the load on the school's chillers. PSD energy engineers estimate Kennard's energy usage to be approximately 28 kBTU per square foot per year, less than 1/3 of the typical energy usage for a school of this size. Kennard was among the first schools in the country to participate in the EPA's Design to Earn the Energy Star program, which distinguishes projects that are among the most efficient in the nation. While the district chose not to register Kennard Junior High for LEED certification, PSD facilities managers estimate the sufficient points exist to certify the building at the LEED Gold level. On behalf of the City of Fort Collins, congratulations on your achievement. You make us green with envy. Ken Field, Gopal Shrestha, Matt Arabaz, Kara Morgan, and Tammy Simpson will accept the award this evening.
Was the interior designer?
Tammy Simpson was sick today, so we weren't sure whether she was going to come or not. But no design, as other designers have credited, is complete without, is even possible without a great client. And Poudre School District, with its pioneering sustainable design guidelines, is really the catalyst for this project. It was also a very collaborative project. There were school district personnel, maintenance people, staff, teachers. We even had a community member named Darren Atterbury or something like that on the committee. And so it really, truly was a collaborative process. I guess the other thing I'd like to say is it's fitting that a green project is being awarded today. Right now, there's 13,000 people at the USGBC National and International Conference in Denver right now, all interested in how far we can take green design. I'd like to read a quote from one of the speakers today. This is a 14-year-old book by William McDonough, one of the pioneering architects. No human creation lasts forever, and design does not solve all problems. Those who create and plan should practice humility in the face of nature. Treat nature as a model and mentor, not as an inconvenience to be evaded or controlled. Folks, we have a long, long way to go in green architecture in this country, and I'm hoping that in 10 years from now, people will ask, why in the world did Kennard get an award? It's just an ordinary building. Thank you.
If you haven't seen Kennard, you need to go take a look. My 8th grade son goes there, and it's a great school. It's great administration, but it's really, really makes me proud to be able to be, just to know what's behind that facility. So nice job, you all. I want to know how many folks think that Kelly Olson made a suggestion to me, and how many people support this, would like to see tours arranged for some of these facilities. I mean, some that mostly, yeah, there's some hands. Sorry, Greg and Joe and Becca, and I'm not, guys, I just want to say I'll go ahead and organize all those, so, Becca, I apologize in advance, but, you know, it's just, what a neat thing to be part of. We're all just delighted to recognize just the work that you folks have done, and this is a great place, and you've just brought it up even higher, so thank you all for your work. I have the privilege to reintroduce Greg Byrne. Greg is our Community Planning Environmental Services Director. He's a great friend of mine. He's a great colleague. He's an incredible contributor to our city's executive lead team. And Greg gets the privilege of really handing out an award that is as I mentioned, the Hall of Fame. So, Greg? Thanks,
The staff asked me to handle this award, and for that, I thank them. I was lucky enough to meet Bill Neal very early in my days in Fort Collins. In fact, he was on the interview panel that interviewed me when I applied for the job 15 years ago. Bill had a little planner in his background. He was the Greeley planner for a while. And I've got a little developer in my background. I was a Tucson developer for a while. And perhaps because of that, we got along right off the bat. And in the years that followed, we encouraged each other at work. We talked about the future of Fort Collins and shared a few guitar licks after hours. Bill's original emphasis in business was in the residential market. He expanded his business to include commercial development. And his first large-scale commercial project was Poudre Valley Plaza, which offers Class A office space, retail space, in a unique environment that brings people and lifestyle together. Bill follows the adage, if you do only one thing, bring the building to the street. But of course, he didn't do just one thing. He did many things. But he brought the buildings to the street. It also offers residential living. Current commercial tenants include Hibachi Japanese Steakhouse, Trios Salon and Spa, Catalyst Coffee, and McCoy's Morning Glory Restaurant, owned and operated by Bill's daughter and son-in-law, Bank of the West and Wheeler Commercial, among many others. Another major project Bill's company developed is Rigdon Farm. It was one of the first large projects developed under the newly adopted city plan in 1997. The ground broke on the project in 1998, and the first homes through 99 and 2000. It's located on 308 acres, a mixed-use development that promotes a strong sense of community. There's intimate craftsman-style village with single-family homes, commercial areas, a grocery-anchored shopping center, tree-lined streets, walkways and bikeways, historic preservation, and art. The project can be considered a testament to Bill's commitment to the city of Fort Collins. One of the things that Bill was inclusive, and he invited the staff who regulated his developments to come to the photo op for Rigdon Farm, gave us all hard hats, gave us a silver shovel, and took our picture. Bill was also involved in the development of Miramont. This includes, obviously, mixed-use development, housing, lifestyle fitness center that hosts a variety of indoor and outdoor activities with locations in the north and south. The fitness center and the streets are remarkable. The streets, of course, followed the layout of the topography. He took advantage of the site, let the site talk to him. You'll see the views and the undulating streets, a marvelous project for the south end of Fort Collins. Bill was also concerned with the environment in his projects, and he worked to enhance his developments through open space preservation and cultural awareness. He commissioned statues at Poudre Valley Plaza in order to acknowledge and appreciate Fort Collins' cultural history. He supported the open space initiatives in this community with his time, his influence, and his money. He took immense pride in his projects. It's been said that he had the unique ability to connect his head, his heart, and his hands in order to propel his vision. He was also an avid outdoorsman. He's a bicyclist. He enjoyed all aspects of northern Colorado's outdoors. He was also a guitarist and wrote his own songs and recorded them. After the Big Thompson flood, Bill wrote a song in tribute to the tragic event. The Big Thompson Flood Association mysteriously received a copy of the song, not knowing who wrote it or where it came from. And it wasn't for years until he was revealed as the song's creator. Bill's involvement in the community included chairman of Fort Collins, Inc., serving as the State Highway Transportation Commissioner, Blue Ribbon Panel for the state of Colorado under Governor Roy Romer, as well as being an active participant in CSU President's Leadership Program. In 2004, he was inducted into CSU Everett Center Real Estate Hall of Fame and has a street in Fort Collins named after him. Bill is remembered for his love of life, his dedication to improving and enhancing his community, and his love for the outdoors. And his daughter, Jennifer McCoy, is here tonight to accept the award.
My dad would just be so thrilled right now just to congratulate all the other award winners, because this is him. This is his dream. My dad loved Fort Collins. He loved his family, which we of course are privy to, but you know, my dad's circle of influence went well beyond just our family, and he is to be remembered in such a way is just awesome. So it's our honor, it's my family's honor to accept the award. I just really want to thank everyone on behalf of my dad. Thank you for the Hall of Fame award. My dad just absolutely loved Fort Collins and its people. He loved the beauty of this town, and he wanted to preserve it. He wanted to make everything as beautiful as he saw it through his eyes and his vision. He worked diligently to honor this community with his vision, and we are so thankful to accept this award in contribution to his legacy. He's so missed and so thought of still, but that's really just cool because to be able to be here and to affect so many people and that he's still thought of so often is an honor. We'd like to thank the large team of colleagues and visionaries and friends that helped him throughout the years to create the dreams that my dad had. And with delight, we thank the city and all of those who are still thinking of our dad and his achievements. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow, how great it is to see the passion and the creativity and that pursuit of excellence that's happening in Fort Collins. I'm like Aaron. I used to walk the streets of Old Town years and years ago. I was a generation ahead of that, I think, at least. In the 50s, and this is why tonight really has a very special meaning for me personally. In the 50s, when I was junior high and high school, I remember the Armstrong Hotel. It doesn't look as good as it does now, by the way, and how great it is that we're in a city that acts to preserve those pieces of architecture that have so much meaning to people like me that grew up here. Those historical things are great. Another historical thing that really touched me was Trimble Court. On Trimble Court, just as it turns to go into Linden Street, that corner used to be occupied by Hutchinson Furniture and Sporting Goods. And in my high school years, in the summers, when I was a board mechanic and or boat mechanic for my father, in Trimble Court, in that alley, I put together many a outboard motor and boat combination and trailer, and got to listen to the people that were old enough to drink beer next door in what was then one of the great watering holes in Fort Collins. And on Trimble Court was the only place in town, it was a lot smaller back in those days, where you could buy a balsa wood model airplane, Linden's hobby shop there, and right on Trimble Court. A lot of change happening here, and how gratifying and how enormously gratifying it is to see that this change in Fort Collins is being done the way it's being done, with passion, with excellence, with creativity, and with innovation. I was very skeptical when Cortina started. I thought, I don't know whether that's going to fit the Fort Collins that I kind of am fond of or not, and it does. And that's that creative architecture. And so my hat is off to all of you. Thank you for coming. This is a great event. It's a great evening for Fort Collins.